Alrighty, you guys. So for this assignment today, it's not necessarily notes, but you are going to watch me start each of these problems. Your responsibility will be to finish them out, okay? So make sure that you watch and copy what I write down, and then you will finish the problems yourself and turn it in at the end. Okay, so our first problem here, it just is asking us to solve the equation, which means find what number A represents. So the first thing I see is that all of my A's are on one side of my equal sign, so that's good. But I can combine them. Meaning, if I have 5 A's here, subtract 2 A's right there, that's going to give me positive 3A. I can bring down my 5 equals 11. Okay, now remember the whole point here is we're trying to get A by itself. So the next thing I want to get rid of to try and get A by itself is this positive 5. Do the opposite, subtract 5. Okay, so that gets rid of it. I'm left with 3A equals 11 minus 5 is 6. Okay, so that's where I'm going to stop it for this problem. You need to finish it out and solve for A. Okay, number 2. We are rewriting each equation in exponential form. Okay, so exponential form, going from a log to exponential. This was a while ago. I think this was one of our first units of the year. Okay, so remember, we always grab the base first. So our base here is 6. Then we go around our equal sign, grab that number. So my base is going to be 6, have a base of 6. Grab the number on the equal sign, and then we go back around 1 over 36. Boom, there's your free answer. You don't even have to finish it out. That simply is the answer. We started with a log, we rewrote it in an exponential form. Okay, this one, it wants us to evaluate the log. Okay, so this one, what it's asking is 4, and I'm just going to write equals x. Okay, log base 4 of 64 equals x. We're trying to figure out what x is. Okay, so what this is really asking, if you start with your base, 4 to the power of what would give me 64? Okay, 4 to the power of what would give me 64? Okay, go ahead and finish this one out yourself, okay? Remember, 4 squared, 4 to the power of 2, that would be 16, so it's not going to be a 2, but maybe try some numbers out. Use your calculator. 4 to the power of what would be 64? Trying to figure out what that x is. Okay, number 4, you need your calculator here, okay? And it says use a calculator to approximate each to the nearest thousandth. Okay, so we're going to use our calculator. I'll zoom out so you can actually see. Okay, remember this is what we called our change of base formula. Okay, and I'm not even going to type it in. I'm going to make you guys type it in. Okay, but what this means is you're going to take log of the bigger number over log of the smaller number. So what it's going to look like and what you're going to type into your calculator, log of 4.4 divided by log of 3. Okay, and that's what you're going to type into your calculator. Remember, your log button is right there. Can't see where I just pointed to. It's right there. Okay, so that's all you need to type into your calculator to evaluate that guy. So now let's go ahead and look at number 5. Okay, so this one, it says find the product. Now remember, whenever we're talking about product, grab a different color here just to switch it up. That means we are multiplying. Whenever you see the word product, that means you need to multiply. Okay, so we have 2 binomials here, okay, 2 terms in each one of these expressions. We are going to use FOIL, F-O-I-L, to multiply this out. Remember, F stands for the first terms. You're going to multiply the first terms together. O are the outside terms. I are the inside terms, and L are the last terms. Okay, so what this means, F, start with F. Multiply your first terms together. Okay, 5m times 6m is going to give me 30m squared. Okay, now I need to multiply my outside terms together. That's going to be 5m times -8. It's going to give me negative 40m. Okay, let's do my next one. Inside, 8 times 6m. And I can never remember what 8 times 6 is. 48. Okay, so a positive 48m. Okay, and then finally my last terms, 8 times -8. Okay, well that's gonna be negative 64. Now, this is not your final answer. What you need to do to finish this out is combine like terms to find the final answer. Okay. Alrighty, so that's where we are multiplying. Number 6, we are factoring, which is actually the opposite of number 5. This technically means we're dividing. So factoring really means we're dividing. The way we solved this guy in class is by playing what we called the number game. Okay, so the number game started where we looked at our third term. And we said, what two numbers multiply to 56 but are going to add to 15? Okay, well let's see, 56, I'm just gonna use my calculator here. 56 divided by 8. Ooh, that might be a good one. Okay, 8 times 7 gives me 56. 8 plus 7 gives me the 15. Okay, now what you need to do to finish this one out is you need to put it in factored form. I'll even start it for you. Remember, factored form is our 2 parentheses. Put your variables front. Okay, and then put your numbers. It's going to be hint, hint. If you're listening here, I'll give you the answer. Positive 8, so plus 8. Positive 7, so plus 7. And then you're done. It is factored. Beautiful. Okay, number 7, we need to simplify this expression. Okay, we have a couple fractions here that need to be simplified. So the first thing you want to do is see if you can reduce any of the numbers. If any of the numbers can be divided by the same number. So the first thing I see is 18 and 15. I can actually divide both of those guys by 3. Okay, that would give me a 6. That would give me a 5 right there. So I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite this. So that would turn into 6 over 5v, okay, times 10 over 11v squared. Okay, we're not quite done. We haven't quite simplified it yet. Next thing I need to do, or that I see, a 5 and a 10. Remember, it has to be on top and bottom to reduce. 5 I can divide by 5, which would give me 1. 10 divide by 5, which would give me 2. Okay, so now it's turned into 6 over 1v, or v, times 2 over 11v squared. Okay, there's nothing else you can reduce here, so all you need to do to finish out this problem is multiply the numerator. 6 times 2 will give you something on top, and then put your denominator together. 11, and then 2 v's multiplied to another v, 11v cubed. Okay, if you were listening carefully, I just gave you the answer. So go ahead and write it out, finish it out. Alrighty, there's our first page. Go ahead and flip over to your second page or the back. Okay, so it says simplify each and state the excluded value. We are not going to worry about stating the excluded value because we didn't talk about that in class. Okay, we're just going to worry about simplifying. Okay, so the first thing I see that I might want to cross off is this 8p and 8p. But remember, because this is an entire piece, I cannot cross out those 8p's. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to factor this denominator, meaning what can come out, what can I divide both 12 and 8 by? Well, I know I can divide them both by 4, so I can take out a 4. What's the lowest number of p's in there? 1p, so I can take out 1p. That'll leave me with 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay, take away 1p, I'm left with 1p. Negative 8p divided by 4p will give me negative 2. And then there's my denominator. Sorry, I didn't know it was locked. My bad. Okay, so there's my denominator. My numerator stays 8p. Okay, so now I can see some pieces that can reduce. Okay, so first thing I see is that 8 and 4 can both be divided by a 4. So 8 divided by 4 would give me 2p. 4 divided by 2 would give me 1. So 1p. And then my 3p minus 2 doesn't match with anything. Okay, this is not fully simplified because I will tell you there's one more thing you can cross off that's the same on top and bottom. So go ahead and finish that problem out. There's one more thing. I'll give you a hint. It's a variable. It's a letter. So go ahead and figure out what that is. Cross it out and you're all good. Alrighty. Number 9. This one's a little more recent. Graph the parent function and the transformation. Okay, so our parent function, let's see, I'll go ahead and graph it. Okay, we graphed it by giving ourselves a t-chart. Okay, we chose 5 numbers, usually the same, couple negatives, 0 positives. Okay, if I were to plug these numbers into just my parent function, the one on top, negative 2 squared is going to give me 4. Negative 1 squared is going to give me positive 1. 0 squared, 0. 1 squared, 1. 2 squared, 4. Okay, these are your parent function points. So I'm going to go ahead and put them on my graph. Okay, so this graph is only the parent function. What you'll need to do is graph the transformation, the function below, based on the transformations. Okay, now if you remember, we talked about transformations. Inside my parentheses is always left and right. Okay, this plus 2 in there, that means we're going to be going to the left 2 spaces. This minus 4 means we're going to be going down 4 spaces. So what you need to do to put your new graph on there is take each one of those points that's already on there, take it to the left 2 spaces and down 4 spaces. Beautiful. Okay. Alrighty, surface area and volume. You guys just had your test on this a little bit ago. Okay. Finding the surface area of this prism, we call it. Surface area means you're adding the areas of all the faces. Okay, so the first face we'll do is the very front. Okay, so that's going to be my 4 times 4 to find the area of that. 4 times 4, which would give me 16. Okay, but there's a front and there's a back to this prism. So now we need to multiply this 16 by 2, which would give me 32, I believe, but I'm just going to double check it in my calculator. 32. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do the side, this side face. Well, that's going to be a 2 times the 4. So 2 times 4 would give me 8. But again, there's one side over here. There's one side over on that side. So we need to multiply it by 2, which would give me 16. And then I need to do the top and the bottom. So we'll go ahead and look at the top right here. Well, that would be 4 times 2. Okay, 4 times 2, which would also be 8. There's a top and a bottom, so we need to multiply it by 2. 16. Okay, what you need to do to find your final answer is you need to add all those areas together to get your final surface area. Okay. Alrighty, so number 11, our last one that we're going to talk about. Okay, and number 12, I will give you guys bonus points if you fill this part out. Okay, other than that, we're just going to do 11. Okay, so finding the volume of this cone. So this is a cone. Okay, the volume formula is going to be our pi times our radius squared times our height, and then divided by 3. Okay, so you will need to eventually put this entire thing into your calculator. Okay, but I'll go ahead and help you find the measurements. So our radius equals 5. Our height equals 7. So if I were to plug both of these into my calculator, which you'll need to do to find your final answer, you'll need to do pi times your radius squared times your height, and then divide it by 3 in your calculator to get your final answer. Okay, and you just need to finish out that problem and you will be good to go. Again, if you want to try number 12, where you write your own problem and then have somebody else solve it, you can use any one of those problems as an example. I will give you bonus points. That'll boost your grade up a little bit. Other than that, you just need to make sure that all of these problems are finished and submitted to me. Leave it on my desk before you leave.